Bosnia. And Bosnia at the time was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, but it was full of Serbs, it was part of Bosnians, it was part of all these non-ethnic Austrian or Hungarians. And they didn't like being part of that empire. There was a group of plotters, a lot of people today would call them terrorists, that went out and they saw the Archduke who was in line to take over the monarchy in Austria-Hungary, and they assassinated him as he drove down the street in an open-top vehicle, and they shot him and they killed his wife as well. And they were Serbians, what the Austrians referred to as Serbian terrorists, who killed members of their government, and they demanded Serbia turn over the terrorists, and Serbia refused, so Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. Serbia was good friends with Russia. Russia had a massive army of over 1 million troops, and Russia came to the aid of Serbia and declared war on Austria-Hungary. Austria-Hungary had a policy or a treaty with the Germans, and they brought the Germans into the war. So it wasn't necessarily the Germans who started, but that's what everybody expected, was that eventually the Germans would get involved in a large European war. The British got involved because Belgian neutrality had been violated when the Germans started marching through Belgium to get to France. France joined the war effort because they had a treaty with the Russians to protect the Russians and attack Germany on the second front if Germany ever attacked them. So all these alliances led to mobilization of millions and millions of troops, and once that mobilization schedule started, they couldn't stop it. And once the troops started marching, everybody thought that the war would be over within 3 or 4 weeks, and after 4 years of bloody combat, over 50 million people were dead. So this is a small sampling of the battles, and just stay back behind the spectator line. After the battle is over, you're going to be able to come out and meet the reenactors and talk to them, but they don't want anybody picking up any of the brass. But if you come back over the weekend, we can give you some of that, but we can't give it to you today because of school policies. So, but stay back until we give you all clear. Thank you very much.
All right, one section on me.
So as British and Canadian troops push on this small garrison that's like none other you've never seen in a prior war or conflict. First time in a European war that it was used to great effect. Within the first 6 months of the war, So after neutralizing the small garrison that was protecting the machine gun in the cafe where they had troops billeted, they're going to push forward. They'll probably search the bodies for intelligence. They have one prisoner who decided it's the end of the war. He doesn't want to lose his life. He'd rather be a prisoner rather than try to fight for a fruitless cause at this point. The Germans knew that they were beat in 1918, but they still continued fighting because of national pride and because of the brotherhood with their fellow soldiers. But when pressed, they usually, when they found themselves in a hopeless situation, they would surrender. Although all that noise probably prompted the garrison that was camped nearby to be alerted. Finding themselves outnumbered, they're going to start pushing back. They don't want to find themselves in a hopeless situation. losing the war didn't mean that they couldn't have a tactical advantage and still win local battles. In the end of the day, they knew that they were eventually going to get pushed back to Germany. It was one of the reasons why the Germans did sue for peace in November 1918. The war ended on November 11th, 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th. Today we know that day is Veterans Day. And it's still celebrated each year, but it was really started because of the armistice that began at that time almost 100 years ago.
Retreat. Okay, I'm out of ammunition.
It was pretty common when you had a battle that once one side would expend themselves. This is a small-scale version of it, but when you had troops that pushed on and they captured positions, when you counterattacked, usually the other side was completely exhausted from running and trying to maneuver and getting up to where they were. Often they were out of ammunition, low on water and things like that. And when you counterattack, you could have a local reserve group counterattack and push them back, sometimes up to a mile or 2 miles back to their starting line. And that seesaw motion was very common for the battles. While you might have a tactical advantage of winning the battle for the day, the local counterattacks often push the Americans or the Germans back and forth to their starting points. In this case, this is what happened today. However, they gave them the Allies' intelligence to know that this town is occupied and that there is some resistance. If the Germans find themselves outnumbered against a superior force, they will eventually be forced to pull back. Thank you very much for attending. Let us police up, and then we'll let you know when it's safe to come out.
Pack up your troubles in the old kit bag and smile, smile, smile.